Hello and welcome to another video. Today I made one of the biggest family trees I ever made on this channel. It's definitely bigger than Rose Fitzgerald Kennedy's, which I made 2 days ago, and quite possibly bigger than Queen Victoria's family tree. But I'm not 100% sure. Might be a little smaller, might be bigger. But anyways, today I made a family tree for King Christian the Ninth of Denmark. So let's start. This is him right over here. He was born Prince Christian of Schleswig-Holstein, Sonderburg, Beck, born on April 8, 1818, and died January 29th, 1906, at the age of 87. His parents were Friedrich Wilhelm and Louise Caroline of Hesse-Kassel. Friedrich was born January 4th, 1785, and died February 17th, 1831, at the age of 46. Louise was born September 28th, 1789, and died March 13th, 1867, at the age of 77. Christian's paternal grandparents were Friedrich Karl Ludwig and Friedrich von Schlieben. Friedrich was born August 20th, 1757, and died April 24th, 1816, at the age of 58. And Friedrich was born February 28th, 1757, at the age of, and died December 17th, 1827, at the age of 70. Christian's maternal grandparents were Charles of Hesse-Kassel and Louise of Denmark. Charles was born December 19th, 1744, and died August 17th, 1836, at the age of 91. Louise was born January 20th, 1750, and died January 12th, 1831, just 8 days before her 81st birthday. Christian had five older siblings and four younger siblings. His older siblings were Louise Marie, born October 23rd, 1810, and died May 11th, 1869, at the age of 58. Friedrich, born October 9th, 1811, and died July 10th, 1902, at the age of 90. Karl, born September 30th, 1813, and died October 24th, 1878, at the age of 65. Friedrich, born October 23rd, 1814, and died November 27th, 1885, at the age of 71. And Wilhelm, born April 10th, 1816, and died September 5th, 1893, at the age of 77. Christian's younger siblings were Louise, born November 18th, 1820, and died November 30th, 1894, at the age of 74. Julius, born October 14th, 1824, and died June 1st, 1903, at the age of 78. Johann, born December 5th, 1825, and died May 27th, 1911, at the age of 85. And finally, the youngest sibling was Nicolaus, born December 22nd, 1828, and died August 18th, 1849, at the age of 20, the youngest sibling to die. Christian married Louise of Hesse-Kassel, quite possibly his cousin or second cousin, because his mother was from the Hesse-Kassel family. She was born September 7th, 1817, and died September 29th, 1898, at the age of 81. When I was making the Haakon the Seventh family tree, both Christian and Louise were Haakon's grandparents, so he will be in the family tree. But like I mentioned in that video, Louise was a bit older than Christian, just less than a year older, and so yeah, she died. She died 22 days, just 3 weeks after her 81st birthday. Anyway, together they had one, two, three, six children. Together they had six children. There was Frederick, born June 3rd, 1843, and died May 14th, 1912, at the age of 68. Alexandra, born December 1st, 1844, and died November 20th, 1925, at the age of 80. She died the same day Robert F. Kennedy was born. Fun fact. George the First of Greece. His birth name was William, but he became George the First upon becoming king of Greece. He was born December 24th, 1845, and died March 18th, 1913, at the age of 67. Maria Fyodorovna, her real name was Dagmar, but she changed her name upon marrying Alexander of Russia. She was born November 26th, 1847, and died October 13th, 1928, at the age of 80. And then next is Tira or Tyra, I'm going to say Tira. Born September 29th, 1853, and died February 26th, 1933, at the age of 79. And then finally, the youngest sibling was Valdemar, born October 27th, 1858, and died January 14th, 1939, at the age of 80. So, the oldest sibling, Frederick, he married Louise of Sweden and had one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight children together. Christian, Karl, later known as Haakon VII, Louise, Harold, Ingeborg, Tira, Gustav, and Dagmar. Christian married Alexandrine of Mecklenburg-Schwerin and had two sons together, Frederick and Knud, or Nud. Uh, Sometimes you don't pronounce the case, sometimes the case is silent. In this case, I don't really know. Carl married Maud of Wales, and she will be, fun fact, she will be again appearing later on the family tree, but you'll just have to wait. Together, they only had a son named Olaf. Louise married Frederick of Lippe, or whatever you pronounce that. Together, they had three children: Marie, Christian, and Stephanie. Harold wasn't married. Ingeborg married Karl, Duke of Vastergotland. Together, they had three daughters: Margarita, Martha, and Astrid. Tira, Gustav, and Dagmar weren't married. Alexandra was probably one of the most famous children of King Christian, since she married Prince Albert Edward of the United Kingdom. He was later known as Edward VII of the United Kingdom. He was the son of Queen Victoria. Together they had six children: Albert Victor, George, Louise, Victoria Maud, and Alexander John. Albert Victor died when he was 28. He was actually engaged to Mary of Teck, who would later marry his brother George, but he died just a few months after the engagement. So George married Mary of Teck, and together they had six children: Edward, Albert, Mary, Henry, George, and John. Edward and Albert would later become both became the kings of England. Edward was Edward VIII, and Albert was George VI. He was the father of Queen Elizabeth. Mm. Louise married Alexander Duff, and together they had three children: Alistair, Alexandra, and Maud. Alistair died shortly after birth, maybe even on the exact same day he was born, but probably yes. Victoria was never married. Maud, and even if she was, she would never have children because she would be too old. Maud married, yeah, like I mentioned just before, Maud of Wales would be appearing twice on the family tree because Maud and Haakon were cousins and they married each other. So once again, Maud married Haakon VII, and together they had a son named Olaf. Alexander died shortly after birth. Next is George the First of Greece. He married Olga Konstantinovna of Russia. Together they had one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight children: Constantine, George, Alexandra, Nicholas, Maria, Olga, Andrew, and Christopher. Constantine married Sophia of Prussia, and they had five children together: George, Alexander, Helen, Paul, and Irene. George wasn't married. Alexandra married Paul Alexandrovich of Russia. Together they only had two children, Maria and Dmitri, because Alexandra died later. Nicholas married Alina Vladimirovna of Russia. Together they had only two daughters, Olga and Elizabeth. Maria married George Mikhailovich of Russia, and together they had two daughters, Nina and Xenia, or Zania. I think it's with he pronounced it with a Z, not the X. Olga died before she could even be married. Andrew Andrew is actually the father of Prince Philip, the husband and distant cousin of Queen Elizabeth. Andrew married Philip's mother, Alice of Battenberg, and when Christian the Ninth was still alive, Andrew and Alice only had their oldest daughter, Margarita. But later they would have three more daughters, and then finally a son, who was Prince Philip. Christopher wasn't married. Next is Dagmar, aka Maria Feodorovna. Like I mentioned earlier, she married Alexander III of Russia before he was king. Together they had one, two, three, four, five, six children. Nicholas, who'd later become Nicholas II of Russia, Alexander, George, Zania, Michael, and Olga. Nicholas married Alex of Hesse and by Rhine, and together they had five children: Olga, Tatiana, Maria, Anastasia, and Alexei. Alexander and George died before they were married, before they could even be married. Zania married Alexander Mikhailovich of Russia, and together they had one, two, three, four, five, six children: Irina, Andrei, Fyodor, Nikita, Dmitry, and Rostislav. Michael wasn't married, and Olga married Peter Alexandrovich of Oldenburg, but they did not have any children yet. Tira married Ernest Augustus of Hanover. Together they had six children: Marie Louise, George, Alexandra, Olga, Christian, and Ernest. Marie Louise married Prince Maximilian of Baden, and together they only had a daughter named Marie Alexandra. George wasn't married yet. Alexandra married Frederick Francis IV, but they did not have children yet. And Olga, Christian, and Ernest weren't married yet. Valdemar married Marie of not Orleans, because that's the American way to say that. She was actually from France, so probably Marie of Orleans or something like that. Together they had five children. Whatever the frick you pronounce that. Axel, Eric, Viggo, and Margaret. So that's the whole family tree of Christian the Knight of Denmark. Let me know in the comments whose family tree you'd like to see in the future. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video, which will be tomorrow. Have a nice day. Bye bye.